Ghost of Yōtei is shaping up to be one of the most talked about games of the year. The hype is real. But how much do we actually know about the story? Today, I'm breaking down everything confirmed so far. The protagonist Atsu, the mysterious Yōtei Six, the folklore surrounding her legend, and some of the biggest unanswered questions that could define the entire game. If you love Ghost of Tsushima, this story looks to be both familiar and completely different. So let's dive in. We're gonna set the stage. Our story begins in the year 1603 in the northern lands of Izo, what we know today as Hokkaido. This is nearly 300 years after the events of Ghost of Tsushima, meaning this isn't a direct sequel. No Jin Sakai, no Mongol invasion. Instead, we're in a harsher, wilder frontier, where nature itself is as much of an enemy as the blade. The developers drew heavily from the culture and the landscapes of northern Japan, even consulting a traditionalist and a traveling expert from a national park to capture its raw beauty. Right away, this sets a darker tone. Ghost of Tsushima was about defending a homeland. Ghost of Yōtei is about surviving and carving out vengeance out of a frozen wilderness. Can we bring ourselves to side with the protagonist, or will we be torn by the vengeance that she's causing? The protagonist Atsu. At the center of the story, is Atsu a warrior forged in trauma? It really sounds like it. 16 years before the game's timeline, Atsu's home was attacked by a brutal gang called the Yōtei Six. Her family was slaughtered, and herself was pinned to a burning ginkgo tree with a katana. She should have died there, but she didn't. Now, years later, she returns wielding the very same blade that once tied and tried to end her life. Her mission is simple: to hunt down the Yōtei Six, each 6 of them, and bring them to justice. Or vengeance, depending on how you see it. And here's the twist. Locals believe she might be an Onryō, a vengeful spirit from Japanese folklore. Atsu doesn't care if she lives or dies, so long as the 6 fall to her blade. That's a much darker motivation than Jin Sakai's honorable driven Ghost of Tsushima tale. So here's my question to you. Do you think Atsu will stay locked into the vengeance tale? Or will she somehow grow into her own folklore and into her own journey into something bigger, maybe even redemptive? Drop your take in the comments. The Yōtei Six. The antagonists in Ghost of Yōtei are the Yōtei Six, a group of warlords and killers who each embody a different deadly persona. The snake, the oni, the kitsune, the spider, the dragon, and finally, Lord Sato. Each of them has a distinct combat style, personality, and here's the big twist. You can choose which of the 6 to confront in any order. That means the story will unfold differently depending on your path, adding a layer of non-linear structure we didn't see in Ghost of Tsushima. Lord Sato in particular looks fascinating. In one trailer, he tells Atsu, "Creatures such as you and I cannot resist the call of revenge." The line doesn't just sound menacing. It suggests he knows they basically are the same creatures of vengeance, and their final clash could be more than about survival. It could be literally about identity. Themes and folklore in the game. What really sets Ghost of Yōtei apart is its themes of myth and folklore in Tsushima. Jin Sakai built a legend, the ghost. In Yōtei, Atsu is already feared as something otherworldly. The locals whisper that she's an Onryō, a spirit of vengeance, who cannot be killed. Whether or not the game introduces supernatural elements is still unclear, but the belief itself shapes how characters react to her. Imagine walking into a village where people bow not out of respect but out of pure fear. That's also some type of cultural depth in that story. The game pulls from Ainu heritage, a northern myth, and even the title Ghost of Yōtei has a historical twist. Mount Yōtei wasn't called that in 1603. It had an Ainu name like Manchishiri. Historians suggest that it might be deliberate, a way of showing how myth bleeds into history in the world of the game. So the question is, will the Ghost of Yōtei lean into the supernatural, or will it basically keep everything grounded in human fear and rumor? What do you think is going to happen? Let's move on. What do we know right now about the story? Even with all this information, a lot about the story is still a mystery. We don't know if the Yōtei Six are connected by more than just cruelty and brutality, or are they connected by ideology and aligned by the opportunist nature that they may be kind of aligned by in their actions. We don't know if Atsu's story will branch into maybe multiple endings depending on which of these players you actually come to defeat first. We will see kind of where they go in the direction of the arc. And we don't know how far her arc will actually take us and beyond vengeance, or will it actually have some inspiring and some more motivational type of takes inside of her redemptive story? Or does her story just end in tragedy? There's also the question of her identity. If Atsu is remembered as a ghost, is she remembered as a savior or a monster? Tell me in the comments, do you see this story ending in redemption or in pure tragedy? I really don't know. What I will say is this, that's really all we have for the story right now, but that's really all we know so far. The story of Ghost of Yōtei is really this: a brutal childhood, a mask of vengeance, 6 deadly enemies, and a legend that basically blurs the line between humanity and myth. Will they take it all the way to the supernatural in this game? I really don't know. What excites me most about this is how personal this tale feels. It has depth. It makes you feel like this game could be something more than just a Ghost of Tsushima clone. It seems like it has its own story, and it might even somewhat be better and more interesting than Tsushima. Not saying the game may be better, but you may not know what you're going to get out of this tale because it is multi-layered. And the way they let you attack each enemy without having you go in a linear fashion, meaning I could attack the head boss if I feel brave enough, feels very nuanced. So there must be some type of different interactions you may get. They would miss the boat by having that out of the game. So what I'd say is this could make Ghost of Yōtei one of the most powerful revenge stories in gaming. I'll be covering gameplay, combat, and how it all stacks up against the Ghost of Tsushima, basically in some upcoming videos. So if you don't want to miss that, make sure you go ahead and slap that subscribe, smack that like button, smack that hype button, a new feature YouTube has just added to the videos. And one last time, do you think Atsu ends this journey as a hero, a ghost, or something far darker? I can't wait to read your theories below in the comments. Oh, and if you're still here, go ahead and lock in with my video I dropped here yesterday. It basically is about the critics being split with the fans on the game. I want you to go ahead and tap in with that one and make sure you drop that hype and drop that like on that video. Real legends, go ahead and slap that thing 3 times and max it out. Again, appreciate y'all for locking in with the video. Really appreciate all the support we've been getting on the channel. I'll see y'all in the next one.